Page 46, Evergreen, is a beautiful piece. At the top of the page, they cover a little bit about broken chord style. They call it open broken. Now in the past, you might be used to broken chords just going up an octave. The actual chord is here. That's the third of the chord. We're not using the third because it doesn't sound as nice as this. And we don't have time for all of them. If we did, that's fine. However, we can include the third in the chord simply by, instead of playing it here, we play it up an octave here. So it's here. You don't have to cover all of this in one hand position. You can move the hand up as you're doing this. And second or third, whichever, it's up to you. You want to stretch here or do you want to stretch here? Well, you get to stretch, so whichever. Which stretch do you want? Doesn't matter what the notes are. And you'll run across this type of a pattern a lot, and it's a good one to use because this way you get all three notes in the triad in the broken chord. And that's what this piece is doing. So at the beginning, whoa, what happened there? First line, second measure here. Triplets. And duple at the same time. Well, the C's come together, and then a D, and then an E, and then an E. So that left hand E comes right in between those last two triplet notes. Time to learn to do this. Duple and triple at the same time. Let's take a note, any note, doesn't matter. I go duple in one hand, I'm going to do eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 1 and the other I do triplets. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and well, the first one is bum 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 bum. You just kind of drill that pattern in, so it's here, here, bum 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 bum. Then switch it so the other hand gets triplets. So this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and just practice. And if the sound is driving you nuts like it is me right now, you can always tap on the piano or somewhere. Bum 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 bum. It's that bum 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 bum. And that's really all it is. And it's all over here. But it's a beautiful thing. Once you can get the handle on it, it actually kind of comes. Now, second line, second measure. That's optional. You can leave them out if you don't want to. It's a fill. We've had fills in this book before, and it's just a fill. It's something to listen to while you're waiting for this boring old note to finish. Yeah, so and that's all it is. And those are just regular eighth notes. D natural there. Here to here. You got to get this, all these sharps in the key signature worked out here because it's G sharp. Because you're using black keys. You're playing C twice there. Again, first line of page 47. See this? Just another little fill. It's not melody. It should be in the background like the. And then cross over here and connect them if you can. So the second line there, starting second measure, cross over, here, it's G natural now, there's a natural sign. And the last measure, they gave you a G sharp here and it's in parentheses, it's a courtesy sign. It's a sharp anyway, you don't need the sharp sign. But they're telling you this really is a sharp sign. Because you might think maybe they made an error and they meant it to be a natural. Because you just had a G natural. But they're telling you, make sure you play a sharp there. Now, and if you're going to be writing music or arranging music, whatever, it's really important that you put yourself in from the view of the reader of your music and be clear that if there's a chance they may misinterpret, or they may think maybe you made a mistake, put in the courtesy sign, just to be clear. Don't overuse them. They're not dummies, totally. But just occasionally you might put them in, just to be clear. So it's here. Now, here, in the fourth line down, last measure, it's a triplet. That's a G natural there. I think it sounds weird, but that's what they wanted. And I recommend a fourth finger for that last note in the left hand because the next note is here. You need to be in this position. Here. So fourth finger puts you there. Because if you do here, then you gotta, it's just weirder. I just prefer fourth finger there. So that, again, the last measure of that fourth line there is here. Now that's a G sharp there, because it's a different measure. Yeah, they didn't give a courtesy sign, they could have, but they didn't. G natural. And here, however you want to finger those, depending on the size of your hand and the left hand, you can go here, or here, here. Top of page 48. Hold these whole notes down. Here and then here. I prefer 2, 3 in the right hand because this way I can connect the C sharp and the B sharp. That's a B sharp. And then hold the left hand down. 1, 2, 3, and 3 and 1, 2, 3, and this, you just have a nasty jump. The pedal will help us out here, but there's not a lot I can do about it. Make sure you hold the whole notes down. Second line, third measure is here. You can do, they want 5, so you're in position, that's okay. If you want to play these other notes with other fingers, that's okay too, but the last note in that measure needs to be with 5th finger. So you're doing that. So it's, and then the coda, the next line here. This rolled chord is all 6 notes, one at a time. Here. I know the line isn't solid, but in my opinion, that should be, you wouldn't roll them together. No. When the notes are close together like this, they're real, I mean, it makes one nice chord. Just roll it as one long chord. Like so. It just sounds good to be one chord. Now if they were further apart, let's say here and here, there's too much of a gap in here. So there you'd roll them at the same time. Here. But when they're close together, this one at a time. One and a... Four, whichever. and connect the top note. And again, well, this time they gave you the solid wiggly line, so yeah, it's all. And how fast you roll these chords, that's interpretation. When it's a sweet song like this is, and you're dying away, you see the marindo there and the earlier in that line that means die away. Get softer and slow down, just die away. Sometimes you slow down, sometimes you don't, but in this case it doesn't hurt too much. You can slow this roll down. Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. It's interpretation. You'll have to decide how you want to do that. Dynamic wise, it goes to the melody. Keep everything else in the background. That means this has to be so soft you hardly hear it. You know, good luck with that. Don't use the soft pedal. Let's do it with the hands now. And these are really, really super soft. They're like the left hand. That's not melody. The melody is only the notes with the words to it. Now you're going to start getting a little louder, not much. Now you're just sort of soft. The left hand is still very soft. And this, first measure of the second line, that's very soft. That's like the left hand. Now you're very soft for the melody. Ooh. You went up to moderately loud here. I forgot to tell you. I do that sometimes. Here at the fourth line, you're moderately loud in the last measure, but come down to soft and go back up to moderately loud. And again, go down to soft and back up to moderately loud. Now you're at loud, because there's a crescendo there at the top of page 48. Now come down. See this? You can do that about a moderately loud, but go all the way down to soft. Because now we're soft. The P is near the bottom staff. It doesn't matter. It applies to the melody here. Soft. And the decrescendo at the end of that line is kind of silly for a piano, because the piano has control and it's going to decrescendo on its own. But the idea is you're ending a phrase, and it's normal to come off of a phrase, which means you decrescendo at it. So that's fine. It makes sense. It makes more sense for a wind instrument or violin that can control the sound throughout. They would be decrescendo. And piano does it automatically, because then you go back to the beginning, the DCL coda, and now you're very soft. In the coda, you're moderately loud. Now you go to the coda from these second line on page 47. Between the first and second measures, you see the circle and that's where you go to the coda. So you're actually you're kind of sort of soft in here. Well, this is soft. Now, all of a sudden in the coda, you're moderately loud. This is soft. And then soft, P subito. This is the third line down, last measure, at the end of the line, that is, on page 48. You have a P subito. P means soft, subito means all of a sudden. No warning or nothing, just soft. Because you were moderately loud before that. Then all of a sudden you're soft, and stay soft. Stay soft. Die away. 4. You'll have to decide how you want to interpret the rolled chord and how fast it goes and whatever. Now we sort of need the pedal here because we want the overtones and we want to connect things we can't connect with the hands. We have to be very careful though because it can get really blurry. This is a slow piece. They have time to hear all the notes. So they'll hear all the blurriness. It's overlapping pedal. Now what they're suggesting is you pedal the whole first line. If I do it that, you get this way. I find that a little too blurry for my taste. Now maybe you like that effect. This is kind of a blurry, misty, foggy piece. I'd still like to clean it out. So I'm going to change it at the measure here at the beginning. I'm going to change it at the measure right there. I want to clean out the overtones and start again. And here, now here if you change the pedal you lose that note. So maybe you want to keep it down on that in the second line. Well, if you're going to do that, I suggest you change the pedal when you play the half note, because I don't want all this. I don't want all that. So I'm going to change it here, and then I can leave it down here, and then going on. And again, in this third line down, second measure, I'm going to change it every 2 beats. I don't want, I mean, it sounds okay, it's all a chord. I just don't want all of that. I want it cleaner. And I'm going to change it again. So I'm changing these on some of these every 2 beats, and some of them it's the whole measure, and some of it's a measure and a half. You have to listen to the sound and how much, what's it doing? What's the pedal doing? If it's too blurry, then change it. Just be careful on the notes that when you change it, you lose notes. And if it's an important note you don't want to lose, well, you can't really change it very well. Now, let's go down to the third line on page 47. You're here, change. I lift up right there. Because there's a phrase. I want a little bit of silence, like a breath mark. So it's here again. Now a lot of times when I have these runs, I like to lift the pedal up right before the run ends to clean out the overtones, to clear it out. So it's here, here at the end, like on the last beat. But in this case, we're building, we're crescendoing, and the intensity is going up. So I'm going to leave the pedal down to let the intensity build. End of the page, I'm going to lift it up so it's like a breath mark. Top of page 48, I don't pedal the quarter notes. It's here and then lift up. But I have to pedal the end of the measure. I want to connect this and this. And I need the pedal for that. So I'm going to just pedaling at the end of the measure just long enough so I can connect the left hand. So start at the end of the page 47, it's that one. And don't pedal this. At the end of the second line on page 48, don't pedal until the second beat. I don't want both of these. So it's here. And then lift up with the hands. It's a new phrase. You go back to the beginning. For the coda, so I'm pedaling each measure here. hear that rest in the right hand too. Here and I want to hear a beat rest there in the last measure, and then here. And at the end, I changed it on the last measure to clear out the sound because I want to die away. I want all that other stuff to go away. And you can leave it down for the rest, so there's sound, or you lift it up and then. And at the end, you let the keys up. Leave your hands on the keys. Just let the keys up and slowly lift the pedal and let the sound gradually die away. It works on most electronic pianos. It depends on your piano and your pedal and all that. You try it out. If you can't do that, you can always turn the volume down on the electronic keyboard. Speed-wise, I think about as fast as I've been going is fine. Yeah. I assume you understand everything else you're seeing by now. If you don't, maybe you need to go back through all 4 books again, just cover everything again and make sure you know what all the symbols mean, cover the lessons, make sure you've got everything pat.